A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. Well, it is the start of a brand new week. A number of developments have taken place during the weekend that are changing the political landscape of our country. Well, all that coming up in the next 30 minutes, and we'll also be telling you what to expect in the day ahead. Let us start with the headlines. Yogi Adityanath sworn in as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. In first meeting with Council, directs them to give details of income and assets within 15 days. Five-month-long economic blockade in Manipur lifted after successful tripartite talks. Newly formed BJP-led government faces floor test in the Assembly today. Jats suspend march to Delhi after marathon meeting with Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar in Delhi. Protest leaders say demands of community have been met. Fierce fighting between security forces and rebels in eastern outskirts of Damascus. Artillery shells and rockets land in the heart of Syrian capital after surprise rebel attack in Jobar. And India looked to push for a win on the final day of the Ranchi Test against Australia. Visitors trail by 129 runs as they resume their second innings at 23 for 2. First up, big story from Uttar Pradesh. Well, Yogi Adityanath has been sworn in as the 21st Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Well, the swearing-in ceremony took place on Sunday at the Kashiram Smriti Upvan in Lucknow yesterday. Well, besides him, Governor Ram Naik administered the oath of office and secrecy to the two Deputy Chief Ministers, BJP's State Unit Chief Keshav Prasad Maurya and the party's National Vice President Dinesh Sharma. Well, Adityanath also heads a 47-member team comprising 22 cabinet ministers, 9 ministers of state with independent charge and 13 ministers of state. Well, prominent among them are Rita Bahuguna Joshi, Swami Prasad Maurya, Siddharth Nath Singh, Shrikant Sharma and 2 cricketers turned politicians, Chetan Chauhan and Mohsin Raza. Well, the grand ceremony was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President Amit Shah, senior party leaders L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Union Ministers M. Venkaiah Naidu, also Samajwadi Party leader Mulayam Singh Yadav, outgoing Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav and Chief Ministers of several other states.
मैं आदित्यनाथ योगी उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा.
Well, after the swearing-in, Adityanath held his introductory meeting with his ministers. Well, the emphasis at the meeting was to root out corruption from the state. Well, in a strong message, he asked all his ministers to give details of their income, movable and immovable assets within 15 days. The new Chief Minister also emphasized on coordination between the government and the BJP organization. There has been a decision to train new legislators and devise ways as to how they can remain connected with the electorate of the state. But a decision on portfolios is yet to be taken. Addressing the media after the meeting, Yogi Adityanath said that he will follow the development for all motto. He also said that restoring law and order in the state was also among his top priorities.
केंद्र में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने विकास और सुशासन के माध्यम से सबका साथ और सबका विकास का जो संकल्प लिया है, उसका पूरी तरह अनुसरण करते हुए प्रदेश सरकार राज्य की जनता की सेवा करेगी. एक बड़ा फैसला, मैं कहूंगा कि एक बड़ी बात इस औपचारिक परिचय बैठक में माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी की तरफ से कही गई, क्योंकि भ्रष्टाचार एक बड़ा मुद्दा इस देश के अंदर है. हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसको समूल नष्ट करने का संकल्प लिया है और उसी के तहत जितने भी हमारे मंत्रिपरिषद के सदस्य हैं, उन सभी सदस्यों से आग्रह किया गया है कि अपनी आय, आपकी इनकम और चल अचल संपत्ति का पूरा ब्यौरा 15 दिन के अंदर संगठन को भी देना है और मुख्यमंत्री जी के सचिव को भी देना है.
And on the swearing-in of the BJP-led government in Uttar Pradesh, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi exuded confidence that the new team will leave no stone unturned to ensure development in the state. Well, in a series of tweets, Prime Minister Modi said that India will develop when UP develops. He also stressed that the BJP wants to serve the state's youth and create opportunities for them. The Prime Minister said that for India to prosper, UP will have to prosper. He also lauded the efforts of party workers that enable the BJP to form the government in 4 out of the 5 states that went to the polls recently. And the opposition reaction to the swearing-in of Adityanath has been mixed. Well, BSP chief Mayawati, who boycotted the ceremony, said that the BJP wanted to contest the 2019 elections by polarizing voters. The Congress, whose leader Veerappa Moily was present, said this was the biggest ever assault on secularism, later tempered down his official reaction by saying that it will play the role of a watchdog of the people's interest. The Samajwadi Party that lost power said that it will play the role of a constructive opposition. The CPM also alleged that the BJP's aim was to polarize.
इन्होंने ब्राह्मण समाज के साथ बहुत बड़ा विश्वासघात किया है। इन्होंने बैकवर्ड क्लास के साथ बहुत बड़ा विश्वासघात किया है। आगे यह लोकसभा का चुनाव विकास के मुद्दे पर नहीं, बल्कि जिस आदमी को इन्होंने मुख्यमंत्री बनाया है उसको आगे करके ध्रुवीकरण के आधार पर ये चुनाव लोकसभा का आम चुनाव लड़ना चाहती है।
आशा करता हूं कि जन आकांक्षाओं का नई सरकार सम्मान करेगी, सामाजिक सद्भाव, सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द को मजबूत करेगी।
जो पुराने इनकी इतिहास है, जो सोच है, जो विचार है, जो एक ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है, मैं नहीं समझता कि इतनी जल्दी वो बदल सकता है। और इसलिए जब तक वो स्वरूप, वो सोच, वो विचार और वो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड नहीं बदलेगा, मैं नहीं समझता कि ये लंबे रेस के घोड़े बन सकते हैं बीजेपी के लिए उत्तर प्रदेश में।
सबका साथ सबका विकास तो नारा मात्र है। अब ये हम लोग चाहेंगे कि भगवान सद्बुद्धि दे उनको, योगी जी को, और सबको मिला जुला के ले चलें, तो इसी में उत्तर प्रदेश का भी भला है।
And on to some other news now. Well, the 5-month-long economic blockade in Manipur was lifted on Sunday after successful talks between the centre, the state government and the Naga groups. Well, the blockade was imposed by the United Naga Council on 1st of November last year to protest against the creation of 7 new districts by the Ibobi Singh-led Congress government in the state. Well, the blockade on 2 national highways, NH2 and NH37, has led to steep rise in the prices of essential commodities and also severely affected the normal life in the state. Now, appreciating the first step, Manipur Governor Najma Abdullah said that the lifting of the blockade will usher in an era of peace and prosperity. While Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh said that the lifting of the blockade was just the beginning and that his government was trying to fulfill the promises Prime Minister Narendra Modi had made to the people of the state. Earlier, a joint statement issued stated that there would be unconditional release of the arrested UNC leaders and all cases related to the economic blockade against the Naga tribal leaders and the student leaders will be closed. Well, the joint statement said that the next round of tripartite talks would be held within a month at political level.
Tripartite talks of today have successfully concluded, and like all the 3 parties discussed the pending issues, and we have resolved virtually all the issues. And one good news I have to share is this economic blockade is going to be lifted tonight.
Government of Manipur accommodated our sentiment, our opinion. And also the government of India also accommodate the sentiment of the Naga people, for which we have agreed upon into.
Meanwhile, the newly sworn-in BJP government in Manipur will face its first test today, while Chief Minister N. Biren Singh will face a floor test in the 60-member Manipur Assembly. Remember, the BJP had 21 seats and it had formed the state government with the support of 4 MLAs each of the NPP and the NPF, also 1 MLA of LJP and 1 each lawmaker of the Congress and Trinamool Congress who joined the Saffron Party. But the Congress, remember, had won 28 seats in the Assembly, but it lost out on the government formation. And the party had alleged that the BJP was stealing power. And a big relief for the Delhiites, and because the Jats agitating for quota have called off their proposed march to Delhi today. Well, this came after marathon 4-hour-long meeting between the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar and Jat leaders in Delhi yesterday, in which several of the demands were reportedly agreed upon. Well, after the meeting, Khattar said that the process to include the community in the central list of OBC category would be initiated soon after the chairman of the National Commission for Backward Classes was appointed. He also agreed to reconsider the cases filed against Jat protesters and investigate the police officers accused of excess use of power. Well, Jat leader Yashpal Malik said that the community will call off its strike from most of the places in the state, barring few where it will continue with the symbolic protests. Meanwhile, 4 police officers were injured in Haryana's Fatehbad district as they tried to stop a group of Jats from moving towards Delhi. Well, the Jats have planned a massive protest in the national capital today, including a siege to the Parliament House complex demanding reservations in jobs and education. Heavy security arrangements were made by police in the national capital, which will remain in place today as well.
आपसी समझ से हम लोगों ने एक सहमति बनाई है। उस सहमति के जो कुछ मुख्य बिंदु रहे हैं आपके सामने मैं वो रख रहा हूं। केंद्र के आरक्षण के लिए, क्योंकि हरियाणा के बाद केंद्र में भी आरक्षण मिले, इस नाते से हमारे बीच में चौधरी वीरेंद्र सिंह जी और श्री पीपी चौधरी जी, इन लोगों ने हमको जो जानकारी दी है और एक विश्वास दिलाया है कि राष्ट्रीय पिछड़ा वर्ग आयोग, उसके चेयरमैन और जो सदस्य हैं, उनकी नियुक्ति के होते ही केंद्र में जाट आरक्षण की प्रक्रिया ये शुरू कर दी जाएगी।
जो मुख्यमंत्री जी ने 5 मांगे बताई, उन पर हम सब लोग सहमत करते हुए और एक समयबद्ध वे सब मांगे पूरी हो जाए, उन सब पर सहमत होते हुए और ये आशा करते हुए कि जाट समाज को संपूर्ण न्याय सरकार देगी और सरकार की नीयत पे पूरा भरोसा है कि इस बार जो समझौता हुआ है उस पर संपूर्ण रूप से वो समझौता खरा उतरेगा। और हमने सरकार को ये विश्वास दिलाया कि जो कल का जाट दिल्ली कूच का 20 तारीख का कार्यक्रम था वो स्थगित कर दिया गया और अब दिल्ली जाट नहीं आएंगे।
Breakfast News will take a very short break here. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
The world's largest delta covered by mangrove forests and vast saline mud flats. Sundarbans, a land of 54 islands, crisscrossed by innumerable tributaries of river Ganga. It is spread in an area of 9,630 square kilometers in India, where 70% is under saline water. With a unique bioreserve, World Heritage Site, a designated tiger reserve, and a plethora of aquatic and terrestrial flora and fauna, Sundarban draws universal attention.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. a salute to diversity, promoting public discourse, events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, amid the raging debate over freedom of speech, President Pranab Mukherjee has invoked Nalanda and Takshila, the ancient centers of learning, to pitch for an atmosphere free of prejudice and violence on the university campuses. Well, Pranab Mukherjee, who was delivering the valedictory address at the International Buddhist Conference in Gaya, underlined that education means a development of mind and constant interaction with the teachers and fellow students. While referring to the ancient learning centers in Nalanda, Takshila and Vikramshila, he said that these attracted great minds in the form of students and teachers from all over the world. While stressing on the issue of terrorism, the president said that it is not just an action, but also mental aberration and an expression of twisted and perverted mindsets. And nations must think together on how to deal with this menace.
The world is becoming more and more complex. It is complex not merely because of threat to human life, property, or threat to the very existence of some sections of the society, but it is becoming more and more not what's within for the human.
News from the national capital now. Well, political parties are not leaving any stone unturned to gather as much momentum for the upcoming MCD elections on 22nd of April. While the contest, which was primarily restricted to the BJP and the Congress till the last elections, is also witnessing the entry of Aam Aadmi Party in the fray this time, and among other entrants is also the Swaraj India Party. While it will also be the first time when nota option will be available to the voters, while the BJP, which rules all three poll-bound corporations, has decided not to give tickets to any sitting councillor and instead has fielded new faces on all the seats. Well, apart from Swaraj India, Shiv Sena and the NCP are also the new entrants in these elections. The voting, which will take place on 22nd of April from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. will witness about 1.3 crore voters exercising their franchise this time. Meanwhile, the filing of nominations will commence from 27th of March and the results will be announced on 25th of April.
बहुत खुशी से सभी पार्षदों ने इसको स्वागत किया है और उन्होंने कहा है कि औरों को भी मौका मिलना चाहिए और जो अच्छे पार्षद हैं जिन्होंने बहुत प्रभावी काम किया है उनको पार्टी प्रमोट भी करेगी।
जो नई पार्टी आ रही है उनका योगदान दिल्ली के डेवलपमेंट पे जीरो है। आप पार्टी बनी, आप पार्टी ने दिल्ली को कुछ नहीं दिया। जहां तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सवाल है, बेसिकली सीधा सवाल है, आप सेंटर में थे, आपने दिल्ली को क्या दिया? कुछ नहीं दिया।
हम चुनावी लोकतंत्र में जहां जिस देश में रहते हैं उस देश में सभी पार्टियों को अपना हाथ आजमाने की आज़ादी है, वो आजमा सकते हैं। पिछले 2 वर्षों में कम से कम सब कुछ अगर आप किनारे कर दें तो बिजली, पानी, शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य, ये जो महत्वपूर्ण और सबसे बड़े मुद्दे रहे हैं, इसमें कम से कम बीजेपी कांग्रेस के लोग भी इनकार नहीं कर पाते हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी ने कुछ डिलीवर किया है या नहीं किया है।
And India and Pakistan will hold meeting of the Permanent Indus Commission in Islamabad today. Well, the 10-member Indian delegation arrived in Pakistan yesterday to take part in the 2-day meet. Well, the Indian delegation is led by India's Indus Water Commission Commissioner P.K. Saxena and the officials of the Ministry of External Affairs and technical experts as well. Well, the meeting is taking place nearly 6 months after India decided to suspend talks on the pact in the wake of the Uri terror attack by Pakistan-based outfits. Well, an Indian official said that it is always open to discuss and resolve concerns. Well, Pakistan has over its project under the Indus Water Treaty bilaterally, but reiterated that there will be no compromise on India exploiting its due rights under the 57-year-old pact. Well, Pakistan has listed 3 Indian hydro projects in their agenda for discussion, contending that these violate the Indus Water Treaty. It had approached the World Bank, remember, in August last year, raising issues over Kishanganga and Ratle projects in Jammu and Kashmir. And External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Sunday said that the two Indian clerics, including the head priest of Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin Dargah, who went missing in Pakistan, are safe and will be back in the city from today. Well, Sushma Swaraj said that she had spoken to one of the clerics who was later traced after gone missing in Pakistan. She further added that she had also spoken to Pakistan Prime Minister's advisor on foreign affairs, Sartaj Aziz, regarding the case. Earlier, Pakistan conveyed to India that both the clerics who went missing were in custody of Pakistan's intelligence agency, while official sources revealed that the two have been detained over their alleged links with the Muttahida Qawmi movement of Altaf Hussain. Now, sources said that Syed Asif Nizami and his nephew Nazim Nizami were offloaded from the Karachi-bound airlines on 14th of March at the Lahore airport, and they were taken to an undisclosed location for investigation. And staying with Pakistan, well, Hindus in the country there can now marry according to their customs and rituals. On Sunday, Pakistani President Mahmood Hussain promulgated the Hindu Marriage Bill 2017 into a law. Now, with the presidential assent, Pakistan's Hindus now have an exclusive personal law to regulate marriages. Well, this law defines procedures for the registration of Hindu marriages and for restitution of conjugal rights, judicial separation, void and voidable marriages, as well as termination of marriage. Well, the law is seen as a fruition of the strengthening of democracy in Pakistan. Responding to the development, Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said that the minorities of Pakistan deserve this law as the citizens of the country. Earlier this month, the Pakistan National Assembly passed the bill after amendments were made by the Senate. And back home, Pyare Mohan Mahapatra, a former member of the Rajya Sabha, passed away at a hospital in Mumbai after prolonged illness. He was 77. Well, he was regarded as the chief strategist and mentor of Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. Now, Mohapatra was the principal secretary to the Chief Minister when Biju Patnaik occupied the top post. Now, besides his contribution towards strengthening the BJD, Mohapatra played a major role in the BJD's move to part ways with the BJP in the run-up to the 2009 general elections. The strategy worked and the BJD swept the polls, raising Mohapatra's stature in the party. He was the Rajya Sabha member from 2010 to 2012. However, Mohapatra was removed from the party in 2012 on the charges of attempting a coup to topple the chief minister when Naveen was abroad. Subsequently, he formed the Odisha Jan Morcha and became its founder president. And on to some international news now. Well, fierce clashes between Syrian security forces and rebels have broken out on the eastern outskirts of the capital, Damascus. Well, the development came after rebels unexpectedly on Sunday tunneled into the government-held areas after months of losses at the hands of government forces elsewhere in Syria. Well, artillery shells and rockets landed in the heart of the capital as a part of a surprise rebel attack launched in Jobar district. Well, government warplanes retaliated, launching more than 30 airstrikes on rebel positions. Now, Damascus only has a few opposition-held areas and Jobar is the closest to the city centre. Now, with the recapture of the city of Aleppo last December, President Bashar al-Assad's army reinforced its dominant position across most of the country. Since then, it has been trying to break down rebel resistance in Damascus and reassert full control of the capital after 6 years of war in the country. Now to some sports news now. Well, India will look to push for victory on the final day of the Ranchi Test against Australia today as the visitors resume their second innings from 23 for 2, still trailing by 129 runs. Well, on the fourth day, left-arm spinner Ravindra Jadeja picked up two quick wickets, removing opener David Warner and night watchman Leon as well to put India in a commanding position. Earlier, Chiteshwar Pujara's double century and Riddhiman Saha's career best score of 117 gave India an important 152 runs lead in the first innings. While the hosts had declared their first innings after scoring 603 for 9, with Jadeja remaining not out on 54 runs. Well, a victory on the final day will give India a 2-1 lead in the 4-match series.
Oh, the off stump is sleeping on the ground. Jadeja strikes once more for India. The night
ultimate is gone. And Australia 23 for 2. Good shot.
Well, that's all in this edition of the Breakfast News. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.